Afternoon, guys. Today is Friday, February 9th, 2018. My name is Sean Patrick Hillman. I'm the CEO of Hill Story Marketing, and this is the Daily Mix TV. So last night I'm out for dinner. Got home, walking my dogs, my wife's away, skiing with a girlfriend. I wasn't feeling 100% last night, so I needed something from Duane Reade, which is located at the foot of my building on the corner of 38th Street and 10th Avenue. Now, it's a 24-hour location. That means their doors are open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, unless otherwise posted. However, last night, Duane Reade was closed for a couple of hours and the doors were locked. So I went over and I knocked on the door, and there's a single woman in the store. And she's yelling through the door that she's the only person in the store and it wasn't safe for her to open. First of all, there's so many issues with this, it's not even funny, but here's my first one. Why was she the only employee? I mean, you're talking about Duane Reade, which is owned by Walgreens. Now, I know that Walgreens has been struggling a little bit despite their public postings, and I know Duane Reade's budgets have been getting cut, but only one employee in a store this big? That's insane. Second, why didn't she feel safe? I mean, I've lived in this location for 8 years, 9 years almost, and not once, in all the years this store has been open, has this happened. So I think it's a little strange. Now, recently, this location had a management shift. The old manager, who's someone I've known for quite a while, would have never let that happen. He would have stayed in the store until someone else came to cover. Now, the new manager, who's basically an overgrown child, admitted to me this morning, when I spoke with him, that he left her alone. And she told him she was locking the door. He was like, okay, sorry, you know what? This is exactly what's wrong with retail and with this generation. You have a responsibility as a general manager to make sure your store is open and that your employees are safe. Now, ever since this child took over the store, sales are in the basement, the store's in disarray, the shelves look like a block of Swiss cheese, there's so many holes in it, and situations like this just keep coming up. Most of his employees have actually told me that they find him to be lazy, and he just goes through the motions. In other words, he was promoted too fast, and unfortunately, he's ill-equipped to deal with the dynamic of a 24-hour store. So my point is that in retail, customer service and effective management are absolutely essential. If you can't get that right, you're going to lose money, you're going to lose customers, and you're going to end up closing. Now, Duane Reade has district managers who are supposed to oversee the stores and their managers. Now, the DM is clearly aware that these issues keep popping up. I know that because I know other customers who've complained directly to him. But yet he does nothing to fix the problem. And that's a shame for what was once an incredibly profitable and very well-run store. The fact that I watched dozens of customers try to get into this store, which is seriously down in profit and revenue, okay, and then walk away last night, says to me that this manager is not serious and really needs to get his head out of his nether regions. This earns Duane Reade and Walgreens, which owns the company, the shaking my damn head of the day. And they wonder why Amazon is taking business away from them. The stores are dirty, they're inconvenient, you got very rude and untrained staff, whereas Amazon offers absolute convenience and delivers right to your door. You know, I really do hope that New York's drugstore, which was a phrase that was coined by an old friend of mine, Joe Magnaco, when he was the head of marketing for Duane Reade. He's now the CEO of Massage Envy. I really hope that New York's drugstore figures it out and stops before it's too late. You know, I'm seeing traffic in CVS go up, especially when you have locations of Duane Reade and CVS across the street from each other or within an eye shot of each other. I actually see people avoid Duane Reade and go into CVS. So it's going to be interesting to see how things play out between the two vying for New York customers. But quite frankly, I think Walgreens is going to be in a world of hurt pretty soon, just given the recent moves in product and certainly the lackluster ability of Duane Reade to get over itself at this point in time. Now, speaking of convenience and Amazon, it looks like Bezos and company is at it again. This time they're going after UPS and Federal Express. The e-commerce giant announced they're going into the business shipping business, cutting out the middleman from their vendors' costs and bringing more revenue in-house. Brilliant move, very smart from a revenue perspective and a control perspective. Now, the new service is called Shipping with Amazon, or SWA. Essentially, Amazon's going to provide shipping services to companies that sell products on their website, and it should cost the vendor a little less. Now, I think this is a win-win, even outside of Amazon's vendors. FedEx and UPS have had increasingly more problems over the last several years. It is exactly what happens when you become complacent in business and in your business development, not to mention greedy. Now, this move will force FedEx and UPS to make some swift changes in pricing structure, certainly in service product offerings. At least I hope that's what's going to happen. That would be the prudent thing to do here. Now, Amazon cutting out the middleman is a brilliant move for Bezos and company. Kudos to you guys. My one comment and perhaps criticism to you: stop using United States Postal Service. I am so tired of ordering products and getting a notification that it's been delivered to my apartment, or at least delivered to my building, when in fact it's just the Postal Service checking it off into the delivery column when they leave the postal station. That's false representation, and I know you guys are aware of this because there have been tons of stories about it in the Times, in Huffington Post, and so on and so forth. So can you please just fix that problem? USPS really is an example of a business, even though it's a government institution. It's an example of a business that just can't be bothered to properly train people. They're so union heavy that they're afraid to do anything in terms of disciplining their employees, those kinds of things. Now, unions are great, don't get me wrong, please, because I am actually a fan of them. But at the same time, when you've got management that's afraid to actually engage with the union on disciplinary issues because they're afraid of a picket or a strike or whatever it may be, that becomes even more challenging. So I really hope you guys work it out with the United States Postal Service. Now, the last thing I want to talk about today, and it's going to be a short episode, Coca-Cola, Diet Coke. What the hell are you guys thinking? You know, I last week I saw the announcement on the new flavors. I've tried them in terms of the cans. So you've got orange and lime and mango and cherry in terms of Diet Coke, new flavor extensions. And as I said yesterday, flavor extensions are essential. But here's the problem I have. You guys keep changing the packaging on your core product, and it's completely unnecessary. So, you know, I picked this up today, and it took me a minute to register at the store that this was Diet Coke and not Coca-Cola because of the red band. You know, typically Diet Coke was all silver in terms of the label, didn't have the red band going around. So this is a little confusing, and I really hope that you guys tested this because, quite frankly, you know, your numbers are already down. You don't repackage in a situation like that, at least in best practices. If you are going to do that, you at least put a promotional campaign out there to talk about why you're changing that packaging. You changed the packaging when you launched the new flavors, but you failed to make a big deal out of the fact that your core format, which is this bottle and the cans, you failed to make it clear that you were also changing that packaging. So just a piece of advice from me personally: make sure you're communicating with your customers, especially somebody who lives and dies by Diet Coke and coffee. It's certainly an important thing to do. My name is Sean Patrick Hillman. I'm the CEO of Hill Story Marketing. I'm also the editor-in-chief of the Daily Mix TV. I hope you guys have a great weekend. We'll see you next week.